Well, hello everybody. How are you doing this fine, well, on the East Coast, Florida time, afternoon? It's currently 1 o'clock, and I am going to be inking this piece from Dinah. This is Lady Anderson. We had our drawn and quartered fan edition on Thursday night, and the topic was Judge Dredd. And for those of you that caught it, there was some really nice pieces that were done there. And this one in particular drew my attention because it's different. First of all, it was Lady Anderson, and then it was done in that anime style. And I really fell in love with this face. I thought it was quite nice, quite pretty. So I told Dinah, sorry, if she tightens up the pencils, that I will go ahead and ink them this weekend, this afternoon, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and ink this piece here, and just have you join me while I do it. All right, so I think I've announced everywhere that I am doing this, so make sure that everyone is on board here. Okay, make sure all my announcements are done. Anyone that's going to join, it's going to join. So anyway, stick with me while I work on this. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is get some ink in my brush pen here using a Kurotaki brush pen. And I'm going to ink this not in the traditional manga style, but we'll try to stay faithful to it nonetheless. All right, so I've got my scrap paper here to throw it on my lines. You can see I've also got pencil layouts on there for my other projects that I'm doing. This one being my comic that I'm doing, Gin and Tonic. So anyway, all right, without further ado, let's get started. So since I'm working in brush and this tends to stay a little wet, I'm gonna work this way. All right, so let's start with cutting in some of these shapes here. All right, we're gonna do the outlines here. So I'm gonna basically, what I'm doing here is I'm gonna be inking all my holding lines. So I'm gonna give myself approximately, I don't know, 45 minutes or so to ink this. And hopefully I can add, I mean, it really is such a pretty piece, but I'm gonna go ahead and add some of my own flavor to it if possible. But I'm not gonna change much because like I said, I really like it. I think it's just right the way it is. So the particular tool that's in this Kurotaki brush pen that I'm using, I probably need to get a new one, but for what I'm doing here, it gives me the kind of line that I like. You know, I try not to throw away a lot of things like this because I think that certain pens and that sort of thing, once they stop producing the line that the artist wants, they usually throw them out. I like to keep them around only because um, the lines that it's creating, okay, could help to make a nice effect down the line for another piece that you may be working on. So on this one here, all right, it's giving me pretty much a thicker line. When I first got this, it gave me a really fine line, and I can make those type of lines still um, with this, but for this kind of thing where I need a line that is a little bolder, but not chunky, I don't mind. I think it works out good for this. I do have a brush uh, that I use also, a regular uh, Winsor and Newton Series 7 brush um, that I can use. One of the things that you'll also notice, and I hope you don't mind, it's probably not the funnest thing when you're watching a video, is that I do tend to rotate my paper quite a bit. So if you can see here, I'm making some lines a little bit thicker and thin, but that's because I'm determining that the light for this is coming this way. So if this piece of armor is like on the outside, it's going to cast a little shadow underneath it. It's going to be a little bit thicker. So that's why that line's a little bit chunkier than like this line here, in case you were interested. So as you can see, I can still do a thin line, but that's not really what I'm using this for here. I just want to make a nice controlled folding line. So this afternoon, after I ink this, family and I are gonna go over to a friend's house who invited us to a pre-Memorial Day uh, bash at their home. So should be fun. Spend some time in the beautiful weather today in sunny Florida, where it is 88 degrees. But being the time of year that it is, it only feels like it's 76. So perfect weather, nice sunshine, and not too humid. Although those days are coming. Right. So if you're getting into inking, a good practice is to flip the paper around, and I'll tell you why. All right, here's the thing. When you are inking and you do it enough, even when you're drawing, I would say, there's a certain sweet spot for where you feel comfortable laying down a line. And so by flipping the paper around, you can always find that sweet spot for you. Okay, that perfect angle where you can lay the line down and not be concerned with, well, am I gonna mess it up or whatever because you're already comfortable in that position, like we did before. Gonna make this a little thicker under here because remember, casting light underneath. Okay. Made a little loop right there, but that's okay. I'll fix that. I'll clean that up in Photoshop when I scan the image. You see here some of the spots were still a little wet. That's what I mean about this. Ink doesn't dry super fast. Normally, when I ink with regular speedball ink or whatever, what I tend to do is I'll have it in such a way that I leave the lid of the ink uncapped, leave the lid off. So what happens is it dries the ink a little bit, and that does two things. Number one, it dries the ink out, which makes the ink actually blacker. Um, if you try, a lot of times you try using it right out of the vial, the bottle, you're gonna find that it's not gonna be as black as you'd like, especially if you erase uh, any of those lines. So if you let it dry, if you not let it dry, but if you leave the lid off, it will darken the ink for you. That's number one. And then number two, what it does is because it dries it out a little bit, um, the um, the ink dries faster, uh, and so you don't have to worry about things like smudging and stuff like that. Oh, it's not too bad, but I mean I know it's there, so obviously it's gonna bug me. But like I said, I'll clean it up. think this is her trigger finger here, if I'm not mistaken. That's all I'm going to do for the holding lines there. Check out this number 5. Hey, what's up, Jim and Ron? How you guys doing today? I hope I don't sound too echoey. There's something wrong with this mic. I got to get a better setup for that. Oh, pretty good, Jim. You can see I'm inking Dinah's piece that she did. Yeah, it's the microphone issue. I'm using the mic on the camera. The camera film's great, but my mic setup is a little to be desired for. What are you up to today? Could also be this room on that echo. Yeah, Ron, that's awesome. You still looking for an artist for that pulp novel, Brother Bones? That sounds fun. The Alien Fair. Hey Jim, do you know Ron? Jim, Ron is the writer. Yeah, Jim's a writer who took my treatment for the Gin and Tonic comic and turned in a spectacular script that I'll be honest with you, I'm like so excited to get working on it. And I think I've actually got a couple pages here. Yeah. Here's a couple pages. That's the opening scene that he wrote. That's page 2. So I think I even have a page 3 in here somewhere started somewhere. My studio is looks like I got all the material finally in, so I'm a little bit in a disarray. Here's another one that I'm working on. Hey Jim, I would love to do a stream with you. Thanks, Jim. Hey Ron, do you hear that? Jim is a very talented artist. You guys should definitely connect. And Jim, I would love to do a live stream with you sometime. That would be fun. Uh, Ron is very talented and a lot of ideas. He's an idea guy, and he is just a pro's pro. He understands writing, understands how it's to be done properly, and he does not disappoint. I'll be honest. I love how Ron calls himself the writer guy. But it is pretty apropos. Sure. That's what I do. I bring people together, make dreams come true. Hey, Ron, keep an eye out in your mail. I would say middle towards the end of next week. I got something headed your way. Uh-oh, I'm getting phone calls during my live stream. How dare you? Yellow? Awesome. I'm live streaming right now. So peace out. Yep. Bye bye. Look at that. Live streaming. That's why they call it live streaming. Anything can happen. As long as I don't get swatted. Yeah, yeah. Oh, hey, you're gonna. Hey, well, I hope you love the surprise, but I think you will. I really think you will. So, who doesn't love a good surprise, though, right, Ron? But yeah, Ron Jim, like I said, he's a very talented artist, and I think you guys would make a great collaboration together. But the deal is that once I need to bring you back in on gin and tonic, you got to drop everything. Sorry, Jim. Uh, just kidding. I'm thinking there's enough of Ron and his talent to go around. Hey, thanks, Jim. All right, and Ron, yeah, just be expecting that email from Jim anytime here. And yeah, I'm glad I was able to connect you guys. So that should be good. All right, hey, enjoy your show, buddy, and don't let the aliens get you. Right, Ron? Right? I feel the same way. I feel like if I had a clone or two, how much more productive could I be? I would be so productive. How would that work anyway? You know what I'm saying? I always wondered about that. Does when you if you clone yourself, okay, is it just a physical clone of you? Would that clone have your personality traits that you've gained over a lifetime? Would it know your experiences, the nuances, that sort of thing that make you who you are as an individual? I always wondered how that something like that would work, you know? And then there's people that, want to do that because they want to be able to harvest organs. But then then that would mean killing yourself, which a person would say, well, I'm just killing myself. I have every right to do that. But isn't that clone also a living being? I don't know. It seems like there's some intense questions there that need to be answered. Yeah. That's how I would that's how I would think of it. Each clone would be its own individual per se, unless there was a way. Um, I don't know. Like what makes like I know that for instance, okay, so you got in the Bible, um, and there's a verse, I believe it is in the book of Job, where it talks about the soul of a man, the spirit of a man, that sort of thing. And then, um, there's that dictate that says that man is unique because he's created in the image of God, and thus has a soul. And then people say, well, animals have souls. And, if you look at the scripture, especially in the book of Job, it says that animals have a spirit in them. In other words, God gives them life, personality, but don't necessarily have a soul. So if you create a clone, does that clone also get your soul, or does it just get a spirit of life because it is created from the essence of your God created soul? See what I mean? I don't know. Some tough questions, and I'm probably getting really deep and esoteric here, but Me too. Me too. I am glad that those decisions are, I don't have to make them. But I guess that's what philosophy is about, right? Kind of discuss these things, these greater ideas. So, Ron, are you a fan of Judge Dredd at all? Do you enjoy the comic, or have you watched any of the movies? And we're not going to count that awful Stallone one. Although, you know what, to be honest, it really wasn't that bad. It's all right. I'm live streaming. Don't worry about it. Everybody knows. It's called a live stream for a reason. I got my son coming in singing. Hey, look at all the nice haircuts everybody got. Got a picnic later in approximately 15, 20 minutes. I agree. Yeah. I think that was Carl Urban, if I'm not mistaken, that did that one. I thought it was pretty good. I wish they had done a second one. And there's talks that they still may. It's such a cool character, you know. And if they, Ron, if they treat it like John Wick, which by the way you've got to go see, good movie. If you're into pure action, this is the movie for you. Yeah, my wife and I went to go see it last night, and well, she, not that she's squeamish, but you know, there were a couple parts where she was hiding her head in my shoulder. But there's some pretty intense fight scenes in there. I gotta be honest with you. Uh, but overall, I mean, what a good flick. So much fun, you know. What? Really? You know, it's funny. That's funny. Yesterday at the theater, we were sitting next to this guy, and he was there with his wife. And here it is, this intense flick. And I look over, and the guy's sleeping. I was like, wow, this guy can sleep through anything. But anyway, his wife was enjoying it, I guess. But hey, listen, maybe the guy had a long day at work. I'm not gonna rag on him too bad. But that's funny that your wife falls asleep during action scenes. Uh, so I guess you'll be watching that movie by yourself. I need some action in my movies, or else I could fall asleep. You know, I need to have something to look forward to, even so I don't nod out. I mean, I like drama movies, um, if they're have compelling performances, but I enjoy my action movies. Ron, did you see that clip that someone posted of Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was in, I want to say it was New Zealand or something, or South Africa, and someone kicked him in the back. Can you believe that? Somebody did a drop kick on him. His bodyguards jumped on the guy right away. I'm like, I don't know. What has to run through your mind to do something like that? It's really sad. And yes, Ron, I know that you grew up in the days of the cliffhanger. You have a few years on me, that's for sure, but good years. Which was that? What's the name of that movie? I might have seen the ads for it, but oh wow. Wonder what that is. I'll have to look that up. You need a French curve when you can just create your own French curve freehand. Well, that was fun. Hey, thanks for joining me for a few. All right. You have a good rest of the afternoon. All right. God bless. We'll see you. Almost done. Almost done with this one. What are we in? We're 44 minutes in. Gave myself about 45. Like I said, I didn't want to overdo it too much and render the heck out of it. Because this is, after all, manga-ish type art. So I wanted to keep some of the openness of the lines in there. We got to get this detail right. See how quickly I can get the rest of this stuff laid in here. Then we're going to work on that face a little bit. Get that done. Turn into the stream. A lot of times when I'm working on a piece, I get so involved in it, I start throwing in all these little details. I gotta remember not everything shows up. That's why inking something like this that is not intended to be that way actually is very helpful. What are we doing? Badge. I'm almost done. Trying to get this drawn real quick before we leave. Looks good. Are you dizzy yet with all the paper flipping? It's been going on continuously. Hey, Scott, how you doing? Yeah, I am. I'm hoping I can get this done in the next 15 minutes or so. Thank you. Hey, Scott, are you an artist yourself, or are you just a fan? Do you dabble? Oh, thank you, Scott. That's quite nice of you to say. Oh, we're getting closer to getting that head done. Yeah, I can see that. Drawing and painting are different. However, uh, it's good to have. I was always taught that it's good to have a good foundation in drawing, and then also vice versa. If you're more of an illustrator, you really should understand uh, painting because it will help your pieces overall look better. Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, keep practicing. That's what I do. Oh, really, Scott? I'm going to I'm gonna check out your Facebook page. Do you have an Instagram too, or just Facebook? Oh, okay. I think I followed you back on Twitter. If not, I apologize about that. I'll make sure to correct that today. And you have some of your art. You have some of your art on your Twitter page in your media section. Cool. All right, I'm gonna check those out. Absolutely. I tell you, I don't know what it is about this face, but Dinah did such a nice job with it, and I was just like, that is so pretty. Such a pretty face here. I just read your comment. That's awesome. I'm gonna piss you off by the fact that I can do this. That's awesome. I'm sure there's a lot to love, Scott. It's like magic, isn't it? I I do that, and then I just it's amazed, people are like, how do you do that? It's almost like it's source me. And sometimes I'll sit there and like after I do a piece, especially some of the pieces I've done recently on these 2 hour streams, and I'm like, the heck, Caesar, I can't believe you banged that out. Listen, are they 100% perfect? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. However, um, the fact that I've been packing in as much as I have been in those 2 hours, I think it's gonna help me, and it has been helping me, especially in my when I do my sequential pages. It's all a matter of getting those compositions down quickly. So I'm really looking to see how that translates for me. That's awesome, man. It's awesome when you can be arguing with someone the whole time, and then by the end, they end up loving you anyway, or at least loving what you do. That's pretty cool. I'm really up against the gun here, so I'm trying to make this up as quick as possible. So with these microns, they create a dead line, but one of the things that I learned how to do is if you press down on the line and you just kind of flick on the end of it, it kind of gives you a thinner line, almost like you're using a really stiff Procol pen. So that's kind of like what I'm doing here on this hair. So it doesn't look so stiff. One thing about inking pencil lines uh, is that, especially with a marker, there's a tendency to make the line look dead because it's typically only gives you one thickness. So you almost always have to go back into it. Um, and so when your pen, you've been using it for a little bit, you can flick. See how I'm flicking that? It kind of gives you a sure, why not, man? Plug that in, dude. I know those things they bug me, man. It's like Big Brother checking on you all the time. My wife uses it. I'm like, you better be careful what you say around around that thing. You never know who's listening. She thinks I'm paranoid. I'm like, no. Uh, but I've read articles, you know, of horror stories having to do with people getting busted. Those are pretty cool. I don't know. I mean, it's good to get some information and stuff. But like I said, I'm always very wary about what I say around those things because you never know. Right. I'm almost getting there. Almost getting there. All I gotta do is this gun and we're good to go. Almost done. Almost done. I better hurry up. I gotta get to that picnic. Dude, You can't go wrong missing something because you were watching Bruce Lee movies. Bruce Lee movies are awesome. They're completely awesome, man. I remember I wanted to be Bruce Lee. I wanted to do everything that he did. I wanted to get into movies and stuff like that. I trained, I studied martial arts. I did all that, man. All of it. But didn't quite get there, unfortunately. Yeah, kind of sabotaged it myself, though, to be honest with you. But what are you going to do? You live and you learn. Nice. Yeah, I used to fight in smokers. Um, I had a little record too. I had a amateur kickboxing record of 11-2. Respectable. With airplanes, nice. Thank you for your service, brother. Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps myself. Thanks for taking me to Korea. I did some mountainous training with the Korean Marines over there. Those guys are awesome. Well, that's good. I mean, hey, whatever. If it's happens in combat, it's just part of it. I know a lot of people that have gotten traumatized by that, unfortunately. Oh yeah, no doubt. Dude, war is no joke. Combat is no joke. You know. That's the whole intent of a military. You know, it's to blow things up, kill your enemy. It's just the way of war, right? That's why it always angers me when politicians are so quick to go to war. You know, like that's the ultimate answer without understanding, you know, the lives that are being put at risk, not only with our soldiers, but, you know, the civilians and everything like that. It's not something that definitely should be taken lightly. You know, but of course, yeah, they're not going, so they're not that concerned about it. I mean, I'm trying to stay true to these pencils here, but this guy's won't look too flat. Exactly. Hey, Ape Sapien, how's it going, buddy? Just about done with this here. Oh boy, let's see. Like I said, I don't want to over render it, even though every fiber in my being is saying render it. But I want to stay true to the manga intention of the artist's work here. So I think that's it. I think that's gonna do it. Just finish a couple little spots here. All right. So that's it. Let's see if I can get a better view of this. It's Dinah's piece, inked. All right, that was fun. Dinah, I'll take a scan of this and send it over to you. If someone wants to color it, like Pixel Trader, that would be awesome. And anyway, that's it. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks to Ron Fortier and Abe Sapien, Scott Sherm. I'm sorry, Schmer. That's not, every time I read that name, it reminds me of your boy Zach. When he says that second cover was done by a guy, and he says, "Yeah, this cover was done by Schmer Schmer." I don't know what he means by that. I don't know if that's where you got that from, if that's really your name, but I like it. I just it reminds me of Zach from your boy Zach. Um, and yeah. So Jim O'Reilly also popped in for a little bit. So anyway, just want to thank you all for joining in and watching me ink this beautiful little piece by Dinah. So anyway, that's gonna do it for me. You guys have an awesome day. Bye bye.